hope that you have a good time in the breakout sessions. And yeah, sorry if some of you got a little bit confused about today's breakout session, and I hope that all the contributions are really very useful. Firstly, may I ask Nigel if you can just like remind to take your hand down, that can help us to continue the discussion later. So let us start firstly by the report back from the group out sessions. And may I call on the group 1 on the knowledge that facilitated by Passan. Andrea, you wanted to say something?
Yes, very briefly. And Tom may already have heard of this, but while I was in the breakout session, Chief Wilton Littlechild, who was my former alternate in this body, called me to say they just found 751 bodies of Indigenous residential school students in Saskatchewan. That adds to the 215 that were found in British Columbia just earlier, like a month ago. So that's 751 children whose bodies were in a hidden grave by one of the residential schools. I just have to say that because it's in my heart now, and we've talked about it here before, and I just would like for everyone to send prayers to heal the community and the families involved. Thank you.
What is this horrible thing? 700, I mean, even if 7 body of Indigenous peoples?
Children, students that were in the residential schools in Canada, mainly ran by the Catholic Church, but they were in unmarked graves. And this is just the beginning, just two schools is almost 1,000. And these are children that were forcibly removed from their families and never returned home. So I just need to share that. Ariel's saying she's saying she's got Ariel from our regions. She has cousins, aunts, uncles from these communities. These are atrocities. This is genocide as identified. I just want to share. This just happened right now. They just are finding these, and that's just 2 schools out of hundreds that existed up until the last century. Oh. Anyway, I don't know if Tom has heard of that, but this is just coming out right now. And Willie called me. He was quite upset, of course. Thank you. I know we're off topic, but we're talking about genocide, and I think we need to recognize what has happened. Thank you.
Yeah. This is horrible. This is, I mean, yeah, this is really horrible. This is the genocide, as you said. So sorry about what's happening, and all our prayers to the families and also to all the Indigenous brothers and sisters who are here. I think we are fighting for the reason, and I think let us take that as a message. We need to double the effort and talk about all the regions in the equitable way and fight for the justice to be given to those peoples, fight for the justice to be given to, oh, I don't want to remember all the numbers that you are giving me here, because it's too much when we remember this one. It's really too much. I don't know what to say, but yeah. Ariel, if there is anything that you're doing as letters or I don't know, whatever, as action, just to let the IP caucus know. And then as we are part of the IP caucus, we cannot commit as the Facilitative Working Group because it is not Indigenous people. So it is UN things, but as IP caucus, we will do something. We will join our effort to join any action that you are taking, because it might happen to any one of us, and that must be happen. Thank you so much, Andrea, and courage to all the peoples. Yeah. So I think personally that gives me more courage to hear from all the groups. How did you work on the activities and what will be the deliverables, and how we can double the effort to make it happen, at least to do the one we have in our hand. This one we have it in our hand, we can act. So let us try to act on this. May I call on group number 1, Pasang Facilitated. May you please, Pasang, ask the reporters to give us the report on this, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hindu. And it's very very sad to learn the story of Canada. It's a very heartbreaking. We can feel our children losing and taken by someone and disappear. And this is very unbearable and very. When I for the first time when I read the news in newspaper in Nepal, it was also in newspaper. My heart was really saddened, and then I could not even imagine. And I read again and again and again. And now hearing another news of more than 700 children are buried, and this is a really like inhuman activities. I think we should make a joint efforts to make sure this kind of inhuman activity will never happen on this earth. We talk about the human rights for children, human rights of indigenous people, human rights of people, but to see the activities when we hear, this is really unacceptable. And for this one, we all should join hands and then, to make sure this kind of inhuman activity will not happen to anybody, anyone in this earth. No, thank you very much, and let's be strong. This kind of stories will make us more strong to have a better future of our future generation, and also for our people that they will not be dehumanized, in the name of all this development or in the name of civilization. I think we all are joining hands for this one to make something, to bring changes that indigenous people, indigenous children can live with the dignity, respect. That no more continuation of this kind of criminalized or inhuman activities. Very sad. We can also imagine our little ones can see it unimaginable. Let's be strong ourselves. Let's think positively that how we can help each others and heal the pain. Time will heal the pain, and in this time I think we have to put our energy up high so that we can do something good for our people and for our future generation. So with this one, I would like to, and then I'm so sorry. I think Jokavet, I did not see your hands. If you want to, after the presentation from our friend, I forgot her name, our young sister, Dika and Damayanti. Yeah, Damayanti will make a presentation. She has agreed to be a rapporteur of this event. But after this presentation, I would really would request our Jakabet to have her reflection on the presentation of Damawan and I'm so sorry with the name Damayanti. Because I forgot to give the floor to her, and because I did not see, because of I could not display in my screen. Yeah. So Damayanti, the floor is yours. Kindly reflect back what we have discussed earlier. Over to you, Damayanti.
Thank you, Ms. Pasang. Am I audible, please? Okay. First of all, I would like to say sorry for what Ms. Andrea Carmen has previously shared, because I'm the child activist. So this is truly a matter of the indigenous peoples and for the children, for the students of us. Yeah, let's pray for them, because this is also the matter of human rights. But right, group 1, as we know that activity 1, 2, 3 got the obstacle based on the COVID-19 cases today. So we need more struggle with the COVID-19, and then to continue our contributions to the activity 1, 2, and 3. And the activities 1 and 2 should be continuous. And
Damayanti, I just interrupted you. Join, maybe it's better if you could display so that Damayanti can just narrate the story, because her sound is a little bit breaking also. So it would be good if you could display the summary that we have discussed, and so that Damayanti can narrate. And it
I'm
will be
sorry,
easier for her.
it's not displayable. I
Okay,
cannot share
okay.
screen. Okay,
Yeah, sure,
it's
sure,
okay.
sure. Okay.
Okay. Am I audible right now? All right. The activities 1 and 2 is try to emphasize to bring the perspective and strengthening the indigenous engagement, especially indigenous women and the youth. There is also several suggestions that we should make any synergy with the knowledge systems, and then try to emphasize the youth and indigenous women through the process inside the UNFCCC and outside the UNFCCC, and also to involve the scientific bodies. There will be for activity 3 about the suggestions to focus on empowering knowledge holder influence in local communities and national governments. As we know that indigenous people and indigenous holders right now are they have their own local wisdom and should be incorporated based on the intercultural methodologies. So we need a more approach or intergenerational approach that could influence at least on the Ministry of Education, for example, to acknowledge the indigenous knowledge systems into a formal education. And the recommendations for further is to always keep in mind that indigenous youth and gender balance in the invitations for global gatherings. So we need to highlight here the gender balance and the youth engagements at the global decision-making process, also into the national and local levels through intergenerational dialogues that acknowledge also the traditional and best practice among them. And we need to also focus on the exchange of experience in different knowledge system and intergenerational knowledge among indigenous communities and local communities. And other ideas concern improving the dialogue from indigenous knowledge holder and scientific bodies, but this could be done through other activities such as the involvement of the youth throughout the indices, and then the NAPs and other scientific bodies, or other the other like the peace, many indigenous involvement. Oh, thank you. Is it still audible, or shall I repeat this?
Yeah. If you can be just a little bit short, because we are a bit behind the time, so that can help the other also to report back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Shall I repeat some of the recommendations to highlight it? Hello?
Yeah, we are hearing
sorry.
you. We are hearing you.
The recommendations highlight is about the indigenous youth engagement and the gender balance in the involvement at the UNFCCC process and outside of the UNFCCC process. So it means that we need cross-cutting sectors to be involved, the indigenous and the local communities, and also acknowledge their different in knowledge system and intergenerational dialogue. Yeah, I think that's all, but thank you.
Thank you, Damayanti. Thank you so much for summarizing that. And we are the one who requested, also wanted to have the youth engagement in our work here. So yeah, even with your internet cafing, you reported. May I request that Joanna, as the one who supported the group number 1, to at least share what they discuss, because you take it in the table, so you capture all what they said. If you can share it through this chat, then at least people can follow to discussions after the reporting back of the rest of the group. Thank you so much, the group 1, and looking forward for what Joanna will share. And I hear what you said, Pasang. Jokabet was asking the floor and you couldn't give her the floor. So after all the reporting back, we will come back to the quick comments. So in these quick comments, I will ask her the first to take the floor. May I request the rapporteurs from the group breaking out group 2 on the climate change action and policies that chaired by Alec to give us a brief reporting back of your work, please?
Hindu's group 3. I'll ask Maria
okay, anyway,
to do.
Go ahead, group 3, it's fine.
I'll ask Rapporteur Maria to do the presentation. Maria, please go ahead.
Can you give access to Maria, please? She can't open her mic or camera.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, our sincere and deepest condolences on the heartbreaking and horrible situation of what is being revealed in Canada. I'm going to read the main takeaways from the discussion of Group 3 on climate policy and actions, which are as follows. First, there is a need to moving from mapping to action-oriented activities two-year work plan, promoting the leadership role of Indigenous peoples and local communities and seeing them beyond the lens of vulnerability, taking into account their values and knowledge systems, and a rights-based approach to different climate-related instruments, aiming to strengthening Indigenous and local communities' rights in instruments such as NDCs, LTS, and national adaptation plans. Recognizing the distinction between different Indigenous peoples to strengthen their participation across the UNFCCC process, as well as promoting the LCIPP at the national and regional levels. Disseminating key information on the function and activities of the LCIPP is also crucial. Linking activity 11 and 12 to mobilize resources for the engagement of Indigenous peoples and local communities at all levels. Focusing on target audience and work plan activities, impact on critical decision-making in the wider UNFCCC processes, targeting key stakeholders such as civil servants, UN agencies, and even the private sector. Developing activities that focus on agriculture and recognizing the rights of Indigenous people and the rights of subsistence farmers, land tenure, and traditional food systems in the context of agriculture, and looking for possibilities to interlink this work with ongoing discussions such as the Coronivia Working Plan and other existing resources, and engaging with bodies and processes outside of the convention, including the UN Food Systems Summit. And lastly, I want to raise this point, is effectively engaging youth, Indigenous youth, and youth from local communities. As well, I want to thank you all for allowing young people to actively participate in the discussion on behalf of Yongo and the Indigenous and Local Community Solidarity Working Group, which aims to promote Indigenous people's rights and local communities' rights in climate action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. So here also we have another Yungo who did the report of the group 3 to my end. Thank you so much, Alec, for facilitating this group, and thanks all the contributors of this group also for the new idea that you put forward. Let us move to the last group, not the least one, the group 2 that facilitated by Rodion. on the climate, on the capacity building and capacity for engagement. So Rodion, if you can call on your rapporteurs, please, to give us the summary.
Yes, thank you, Hinda, and Irina will deliver our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodion. Thank you, Hindu. I also adding my voice to the condolences for the awful situation that have been just discovered in Canada. It's really sad, and I recognize that Tom have already in another meeting. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe of the group 6. He took the floor to give us this awful news and the sense of the deep sorrow of government of Canada in that moment. So great appreciation for that, Tom. Going to our subject, we have mainstream our dialogue from yesterday, which was very rich and sometimes overwhelming for me, not trying to leave anything behind. But today we have 4 main streams that we would like to share with you. The first one was suggested for the co-lead of the PCCB, Roberta, and we thank you very much for this important idea, is the co-lead or co-produce a non-binding guidance to assuring the engagement of Indigenous people and local communities in all the stages of policy building and policy making in the countries, for instance, NDCs, other national adaptation plans and other plans, and also bringing other bodies in this guidance. And also, we have talked about having cluster webinars series, taking into account flexibility in timing and topics. The first one is disseminating good practices in elaboration of NDCs and National Adaptation Plan and other plans of national capacities. How a state can integrate Indigenous peoples and in their national adaptation plans. It would be good to hear for states that have had this great experience, including Indigenous peoples and local communities in the building of the national plans. Also, we talk about a series of webinars or other actions that could include women and youth in order them to get more acquainted and also to be more clear for everybody that they are important and especially vulnerable in the climate change adverse effects, so that we can give them a good way of or a voice to participate in not only in this forum but in other ones also. We have talked also about the implications and specific cultural experience of Indigenous communities experiences the crisis of climate change, and we think that it's important to also tell the stories of the change in the livelihoods. And we have talked, for instance, the example of Greenland and the depletion of the ice cape, and also the sea level rise that is experiencing in Canada and other places in the world, so that we can reflect on this crisis and take some conscious about the graveness of this crisis. This will also, as I told you, give us cultural differences and help us to understand other ways of living and how they get affected with climate change. In another activity, we have talked about looking or mapping different indigenous networks. We have work inside the Indigenous Caucus, but it has been highlighted that there are other organizations and indigenous organizations that could help us in all our work, and so that we can include it, excuse me, include them in our work. Finally, yes, it was talk about the good thing that it could that we could provide participants and indigenous peoples and youth, young, everybody beforehand our meetings or the meetings that we in general hold or webinars, in general activities that we do beforehand, concept notes and including short videos about what is going to be discuss and so that the people that are interested can participate and can have a more meaningful participation in those spaces. So those are our lines of discussion today, and I hope it is clear. And Rodion, if I miss something, please go ahead and include anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irina. So thank you really to Rodion for facilitating also the group and to all the contributors to this group. And if you can just follow also what the others said, they just copy it and pass in the chat and people can follow what you said already. We are like 20 minutes behind. But it's not a reason that I'm going to cut you to do not give you the chance to input. So please, if I can beg you to just to be very short in your comments to what the reporters present, and allow with me that the members, you will get the chance to discuss all this in and then work on it for so many time after that. But all the contributors, we cannot get them together like today. So may I just give the chance to the contributors to give us if they have any comments on all what is presented, or if they have quick questions, and please be brief. We can take 5 minutes to do it. And if I can start by the lady that, so if I can start by Jokabet Reina, and please be brief, and then we can pass the floor if there is anyone else. Jokabet.
Sí, hola, muchas gracias. Bueno, realmente había sido un error que levanté la mano de la vez pasada y quedó levantada, pero solo con el tema de las juventudes. Sí creo que como bien mencionan, es importante también ver la diversidad, como están mencionando, de los pueblos, y que a nivel local, pues ya nos toca a cada uno también llevar representatividad para que haya una diversidad también de juventudes indígenas. Gracias.
Thank you very much. So your point is well captured to all, and it will be reflecting in the work plan for sure. So anyone wanted to give a comment in what we report back? I do not see any hand there, but anyway, you have, okay, Elvira. So Elvira, if you can be please very brief, and then we can give the floor to Frank.
Gracias, Kintu. Solo dos cositas recogiendo lo que han planteado los tres grupos. Y si el plan de trabajo en principio tenía como una característica el enfoque incremental, creo que se puede asumir en este segundo plan de trabajo como un enfoque complementario, la interculturalidad, el énfasis en mujeres, un enfoque de género, y el énfasis en lo intergeneracional. Entonces creo que esto podría complementar muy bien el preámbulo de lo que podría ser el nuevo plan de trabajo del grupo facilitativo. Y lo segundo que quería proponer es que, no sé si por la señal o por algo, pero creo que el resumen que se ha hecho de pronto no incorpora muchos de los aportes, entonces quisiera dejar nota para que la Secretaría pueda enriquecer esto con lo que se ha discutido en cada uno de los grupos. Solo eso, gracias.
Thank you very much, Elvira. As I'm seeing, you are all seeing in the chat, so Secretariat put their emails. So please, if you feel that you need to add one of the points, send that to the Secretariat. And then of course, my brother Tom and myself, we will be also following up with the Secretariat on this before that all the members discuss in the work plan. So may I go quickly also to Frank? So my Papa Frank. Go ahead.
Oh, hello, everybody. One of the things that I noticed in the report out is that there is a considerable overlap between our recommendations and our thoughts and our discussions. As predicted, that there would be a lot of overlap between them. I think that this will strengthen. We have some points to strengthen, particularly in the incorporation of Indigenous peoples within the development of NDCs and NAPs. So I think that's one thing that I noted in listening to the reports out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank. That's very useful. Yes, so we may all consider this. Okay, so I see no other hands. So thank you so much, all of you, for this breakout session. A special thanks to all the co-facilitators of the 3 groups. Thank you for your leadership, for accepting doing it. Thank you for the members that supporting each group in these discussions. And thank you to all the rapporteurs. So you see, for us, it is to include everyone, not only the members to do the work. That's also why it was open to everyone to be the rapporteurs and to input on it. Hopefully that it will be really a good example for the rest of the UNFCCC body to make it also more inclusive for all of us together. So here, this agenda item 5, Secretariat will combine all the activities and all the relevant deliverable and timeline that you discussed since yesterday and today to put them in a tables. And then the Facilitative Working Group members will discuss those activities and then try to combine them together and put the priorities. And then the next step will be that each members will share it with his region to make a consultations. And after these consultations, we will be meeting again as Facilitative Working Group members to finalize the draft to become a work plan that will be attached to the work. So if you feel you have anything that else miss it, or you remember something very important, so please feel free to email the Secretariat, to email Tom and myself, or even to email one of the members of the Facilitative Working Group who is your friend or from your regions or whatever, and then we can put it. And in the other hand, it is there is a how you call it? It is not a survey. The ongoing things. Do you remember the name, Tom?
The Menti. So in the chat.
Thank you so much.
If people would like to submit anonymously, I know that might be a preferred method of submitting Menti in the chat.
Thank you very, very much, Tom. So there is Manti who is in the chat. So if you wanted to submit anything in anonymous way to do not reflect who you are or you're coming from where, and please follow the Manti and put your ideas. By the end of this meeting, we will capture all those ideas without saying who say what. So this is also one way to contribute. So thank you so much. This agenda item 5, it's closed. Let us now open the agenda item 6. This is going to be very quick, of course, because of the reason of the time, but of course also because I hear many of the other body talks in the different groups explaining the work like PCCB, I hear also from other agencies like UNESCO and I mean many other. So if you wanted to take the floor here and tell us where will be the synergy or the coherence or whatever body who is here wanted to say something to reflect in the work that we are doing. So please take the floor. There are UN agencies who are all here. So please be brief. I think you know the rules from the UN agencies. While you are giving 1 minute and you cut the mic, I'm not going to cut the mic because we are not doing that, but try to be yourself brief and then the others also can talk. So please raise your hand or write your agency or your name in the chat and then I can see who is here. But for now, I don't know who is raising the hand, but if I can call on the PCCB, if you can come and say a quick word, it will be nice because I saw you are here, my dear. And any other people, raise your hand or write your name because I do not know all of you. So Benjamin from the Human Rights, Ben, if you are here, go ahead, please. Please allow it, Ben Mike. It is Benjamin, I can't pronounce your second name, Chapter from the UN Human Rights.
Hello, greetings, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this discussion. Allow me to also offer my condolences with respect to the terrible tragedy unearthed and discussed earlier today. Ben Schachter with the UN Human Rights Office, very happy to have been following this process for the past several years, and really just wanted to say, you know, that we're here and happy to contribute to and support the work of the LCIPP. I think that the coherence question is one that is very well addressed by a natural alignment between our mandate and our work and the efforts of Indigenous peoples and the tremendous job done in the context of this group to discuss and address Indigenous people's rights. And, you know, so we are, of course, here to support and further and advance that discussion. And there are, I think, potentially specific places in the work plan where we might be able to contribute, but would really welcome guidance from the LCIPP itself on where and how we can do that. And I'm not sure if my colleague from our Indigenous Peoples and Minorities section is also with us right now. She's been with us for portions of this discussion. But I would just add that there are, on her behalf, that we also support a voluntary trust fund, which can be used to facilitate Indigenous people's participation in certain meetings, including potentially for the UNFCCC. So that's something that I can connect people on if it's something interesting to follow up. With respect to that, and I should have said in my introduction, I lead our work on environment and climate change. So we're both been here with you. I've probably already talked too long, so I'll stop and look forward to continuing to work to support the platform. Over.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for your support. Samia, because Ben called it on you. Do you want to complement something quickly? Samia Suleiman. Okay, maybe by the time that they give Samia floor, may I move to Iana, and then after Iana, Mikael. So then please present your organization.
Thank you very much, Indu. Let me first associate to the condolences expressed by colleagues for the tragedy that's occurring in Canada and we just learned about. And on behalf of the PCCB, as we discussed in the breakout group and Irina perfectly reported, we would be very glad through the informal consultation group established with other representative of constituted bodies to co-lead with you a work to develop guidance for participants to the informal coordination group on how to integrate and address issues related to indigenous knowledge in their activities. And so we would be very glad to contribute to your work plan, and thank you very much, by the way, for joining our informal consultation group and for giving me today the opportunity to join the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iana, and I think so you are the first one we collaborated with, and thank you also for inviting us for all your meeting. So we think we will come back to you after discussions with the group and see how we can collaborate more. So may I give the floor now to Michael, please?
Thank you, Hindu. And first of all, let me associate with the condolences of the very sad and heartbreaking events in Canada, the discovery that is made there. I'm here on behalf of the CGE. Thank you for inviting me, and I've been following your proceedings from Tuesday, and I'm learning a lot. So that's been really good for me. So the CGE, the body I represent, is its task is to look after the transparency under the UNFCCC, and in particular to operationalize the enhanced transparency framework and the Paris Agreement. The mandate that this transparency Article 13 under the Paris Agreement is giving us is mostly working at the national level. So it's like quite a number of levels from local communities and indigenous peoples groups. So that the touch points that I would see here is to try to kind of look into how transparency under the Paris Agreement could be brought to a lower level. In fact, when we talk about transparency, when we talk about greenhouse gas inventories that governments are providing to the convention and that are undergoing international reviews and whatnot, the important thing is how you build these inventories, and the inventories are usually built also from very high level information from ministries, national statistics offices, but it ignores the lower levels, like the levels at which information and data related to transparency could be much higher quality. And there is still some rudimentary, well, not rudimentary, an okay level of reporting available at the city level, but really not much at the local level. So this is one of the things that we could explore with you on how do we look at transparency at the local level. Other potential areas include the education on transparency for meaningful and data-driven climate actions at the local level, because sometimes people don't really know what they can do that would be meaningful in terms of climate action, and transparency helps a lot here. Also, local communities, in bright future when we have transparency arrangements and reporting of GHG emissions based on remote sensing infrastructure, local community may have an important role in maintaining and carrying the remote sensing infrastructure on the ground. Also, the assurance of integrity of high-level reporting is very much a local kind of domain of action. In terms of the possible next steps, I will share just information about in the ETF in an accessible forum. We have some videos about the ETF that members of your body can review, and then maybe if the group so wishes, we can go for some sort of an exploratory or scoping workshop to see where the touch points are. And also, CGE is providing a lot of training and webinars and workshops to developing countries. We cannot really say that we have like we are at the peak of possible participation in this workshop. So
sorry, if you can just be a little bit brief, because we are behind time, and
wrapping up. Yeah. It's if it's possible, you can reach out to your national focal points and nominate local communities, representatives, and indigenous peoples for our training that might be good for capacity building. I apologize for taking a lot of time, and that was it. Thank you.
It's okay. Actually, I just like getting an idea in the mind, but I will say it at the end of everyone when they speak. Thank you so much, Michael. Working on transparency, it's really very important. While I attended one of the issue during the negotiation when one of the country called it to close the transparency negotiation. So I think it will be really good to work around that. So I have in my list now Kajza from the WIMS, Carla, Nigel, Sol. So please try all to be brief. So may I call firstly to Kajza from WIMS, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Indu. So first off, thank you for inviting us to this meeting, and thank you for the very important work that you do. I would like to add my voices to all others who have offered their condolences to the events in Canada. I just wanted to say that we're very appreciative of your engagement in our body, and especially of the work you do in our expert group for non-economic losses. And we hope to continue that collaboration in the years coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will be very happy to continue also collaborating with you. Carla.
Thank you, Hindu. This is Carla from the Indigenous Peoples team at IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, with the message of solidarity for Indigenous peoples in Canada and around the world. I wanted to recognize from all the team the admiration we have for the platform, and also to share some information from how we work at IFAD and how we can think to collaborate in the future. We are part of the ECG, that is in the Environment and Climate division at IFAD. So we work inside that division as Indigenous Peoples team. So there are a lot of connections that we can make. And for instance, 3 things I wanted to share with you. It's the work on the Food Systems Summit that we are accompanying right now. It's being led by Indigenous peoples, but we are walking by the side and learning together. There is massive amounts of knowledge that is coming out of these waves of dialogues, of course, and many of you have been there, also you, Hindu, in the Indigenous Peoples Forum at IFAD, and sharing also about the Indigenous Peoples Assistance Facility that you might be looking so for some news by the end of the year. And that's it. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Ciao.
Thank you, Carla. We are very happy to have you. And this is also the collaboration with the outside body that we wanted to build up there. So may I call on Sol, please?
Muchas gracias, estimada Hindu. En primer lugar, quisiera enviarles el saludo de parte del Gobierno de México, del Instituto Nacional de los Pueblos Indígenas, a todas y todos los integrantes del grupo facilitador y de la plataforma de pueblos indígenas y comunidades locales. En segundo lugar, quisiéramos expresar nuestras condolencias por lo sucedido en este informe que nos presentó nuestra hermana Andrea Carmen, y nos sumamos a este sentido de exigencia y de solidaridad con las familias de estos niños indígenas allá en Canadá, y también a los pueblos, los líderes allá, a nuestro hermano Willy Lsip. Desde aquí le enviamos un fuerte abrazo y también nos sumaremos a los planteamientos que quieran hacer para continuar con esta situación que ellos han venido luchando en contra de este problema que ha sucedido allá y que, como se ha señalado aquí, ojalá esto no vuelva a suceder en ninguna parte del planeta para nuestros pueblos indígenas. Muchísimas gracias. En tercer lugar, quisiera expresar nuestro compromiso del Gobierno de México para trabajar con la plataforma de pueblos indígenas y comunidades locales en todas estas actividades y este nuevo plan de trabajo. Ustedes nos dicen de qué manera podemos comprometernos. Yo quisiera solamente hacer algunas sugerencias. Creo que es importante los planteamientos que se han hecho respecto de los resultados que tuvimos en el diálogo de pueblos indígenas sobre cambio climático que se realizó en México, en la cual varios de ustedes estuvieron participando, y rescato algunos de los planteamientos que se hicieron, por ejemplo, el buscar vincularse con otros convenios de Río, desde esta plataforma, destacar el enfoque y la base sobre los derechos humanos y poder incluir otros temas en las actividades, como el tema de los sistemas alimentarios, que ahora está muy de moda, pero buscamos una transformación de los sistemas alimentarios, y es lo que hemos estado trabajando desde el Gobierno de México con varios diálogos que hemos realizado y con los pueblos indígenas también. Y también creo que sería importante incluir el tema del Decenio Internacional de las Lenguas Indígenas, que también está asociado a estos conocimientos indígenas de los cuales ustedes han hablado. Son algunas sugerencias, y nuevamente reiterar este compromiso para trabajar conjuntamente con ustedes, con la plataforma de los pueblos indígenas y comunidades locales sobre el cambio climático y su grupo de trabajo de facilitación. Muchísimas gracias. Un abrazo a todas y todos.
Thank you so much, Sol. We always got the leadership of your country supporting us and then helping us to build up what we start together. I remember in Paris how much we get time into 4 a.m. just to negotiate all what we are talking about it here. So we are really sure that you will be with us and supporting us. Thank you so much for the leadership and for the commitment again. So I have the last, not the least one in my list from the organizations, UNESCO, Nigel.
Thank you, Hindu, and we would also like to express our deep condolences and sadness to the Saulteaux Nation, to the Kawases band for this terrible news that has emerged today, and UNESCO, we've spoken a couple of times already in the session. We've been working to support the FWG process for many years before its inception, and we remain at your service. I think everybody knows that due to the complexities of UN governance, it's very helpful if you identify which UN agencies and funds you would like to support you to create synergies. It's the identification that makes it easier for us in terms of our programming and budget allocations. We've mentioned already, and the last speaker just picked up on it, there are 2 decades running that UNESCO is responsible for, which are significant for your work. The International Decade on Ocean Science for Sustainable Development and the International Decade on Indigenous Languages. So if it is appropriate, you may want to cite either of or both of those decades. UNESCO also has priority areas of work, which includes Africa, the small island developing states, and LDCs. So we would encourage and work with you on ensuring the full participation of Indigenous peoples from those regions. And as a last comment, I think that there is an opportunity in your work to help boost the coherence of how the United Nations deals with partnerships with Indigenous peoples, with free, prior, and informed consent, and with the role of Indigenous and local knowledge, so that the work that you're doing connects also with other processes, including IPBES, the IPCC, and the other Rio conventions. So we look forward to further cooperation, and we thank you for all the good work that you've been doing up until now. It's making a big difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nigel. And of course, we know the relationship with UNESCO and also working on the knowledge. So it's really very important that we got you on board with this work. So dear colleagues and all who talk from the UN agencies, thank you so much for joining us. So may I just take the liberty to propose that from the Secretariat, if the Secretariat can get in contact with all the body that talked here in order to see the follow-up, and maybe we can organize a meeting call or whatever is changed between the Facilitative Working Group members and those bodies in order to define clearly how we can collaborate and what will be the best way. And if you from the body, you have also an idea on the activity that we are drawing in the second work plan, you wanted to input on it or be a partner, please be free to send it to the Secretariat and copy Tom and myself, and we can also share it with all the Facilitative Working Group members. So at least that we got this contact and we can continue the work. And maybe if we got the chance to be in person in the COP26, so maybe we can have also the meeting of all the body with us together to discuss. I remember when we have been invited to join the PCCB coordination meeting, it was very helpful. WIM's coordination meeting, it was very helpful. So is it good for you like to have those 2 approach? And in this one, I wanted firstly to ask if my co-chairs, it's online with me. And then I see you, long sister. I will come back to you, don't worry. Tom, you have one word to say on this?
No, I think that sounds like a really sensible approach, Indu, and I thank you for the proposal. Fully agree.
Thank you so much. So colleagues, we have like 30 minutes that left for 2 agenda items. 7 and then 8 closing. But I know that Andrea, I feel you already, then I know that, but I wanted to hear it from your mouth, so go ahead.
Oops, thank you very much. I just want to add really briefly 2 items regarding our interface with the human rights arena that I've shared with the members, but that way I can share with the participants. One is at this session of the UN Human Rights Council, I think it's the 47th, there is advance on the proposal to create a new UN Special Rapporteur on human rights and climate change. And I disseminated that initiative to everyone. And the second is we just received the Google poll for dialogue with the UN Special Rapporteur on right to water, calling for exchange with the members of the LSIP. So those are just two human rights related initiatives that we're being called upon to interface with. Thank you.
I knew that this is the work you really did for long. Thank you so much for highlighting that. It's always important to hear it from everyone, and we can record it into the report. So thank you so much, all of you, for this contribution. And then the agenda item 6 is closed. So let us move quickly to the agenda item 7, and then Tom and myself discuss a lot on this one. So agenda item 7 is on other matters. Before we talk on the other matters, we wanted to have 1 minute to the co-chairs. We will come to what you are checking your head also. Andrea, I have a time on this in my head also, don't worry, the other 1 minute. But I'm requesting here 1 minute to Grams. And I just received the message from Sebastian, he cannot be there. If you can present quickly the compiled work that you did, because you asked for the time and we have to give you this time in any other matter. So Grams, over to you.
Hey, Hindu. I'm just switching to my computer. I had to make a quick change. Yeah, I didn't want to take the floor for too long. As many of you know and was discussed in the, here, let's see if this works better. There we go. Hopefully you can see me. As I was just saying, many of you know that over the last several years, CL has been working with the caucus to develop a compilation of all of the different references to Indigenous peoples, traditional knowledge, the knowledge of Indigenous peoples within the parameters of the UNFCCC. And just wanted to announce that today we released the updated version for 2020. So I'll find it and put it in the chat, but it's been an extremely useful document in the past, and we'll continue to do that. So just wanted to let everybody know that that's live today. So miigwech to Hindu and Tom for giving me the space.
Thank you very much, Brother Grams. I'm going to send it to you right now in WhatsApp, and then you can put it in the chat yourself, the updated version. So colleagues, one of any other matter point we wanted to discuss was around the language. So during all the discussions, we discussed about the interpretation that we need many languages, even for the members of the Facilitative Working Group. As myself, with my broken English, I need sometimes French, and then to Tuntiak, and of course to Rodion. So we have like different background. English is not our native language. And then second, we say also there is importance of having documents also translated. Of course, we cannot ask to any statement that to get translated, but we wanted to focus on the main documents that to be translated. So we need to decide in how many language that we want, what we want. So in this one, may I just invite Secretariat to share with us the slide that they prepare, and then that can help us to move forward quickly, please. So Coco, if you are there, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm just sharing that with the team so that they can put that on the screen. This will take just maybe 5 seconds.
No problem. So just by time, remember like what all of us said, we need the report, also the decisions maybe to be translated, and we need the mandate. And then we talked about our Indigenous people's languages from French to English to Spanish to Russian. And do we want to have those languages or whatever? So that's the one we are talking about. So if you are ready, Coco, just go ahead. I'm killing time.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. This is taking just a moment. Hindu, if you wish, you could go on to the additional any other matters issue of gender, and we'll come right back to that slide. Thank you.
Okay, I will come back to you then. Yeah, so then another point is the gender focal point. So the facilitative working group maybe might consider the nomination of a gender focal point, and then this person can help to enhance in the work plan the issue of the gender. Of course, as Indigenous representative, we always put that in our own decision, and that's why we are the majority, 5 women, and then we have only like 2 male in our working group representations. But how it is not the case from the other side of our friends from the government. So we need like to have that implement because it is in the decisions. So how we can have also the focal points maybe that we can consider to attend the relevant meetings on the gender mainstreaming under the conventions, or also in the response to what the mandate of the Secretary to progress into the gender perspective, to consider in all the body. We have that into the decision 3/CP 25 of the para 12. And then also the nomination of this gender focal point can be integrated into this perspective of the constituent bodies process that can help to enhance streamline mandate of the COP, as we have it also into the COP decisions. So, of course, if there is any more information to be found in this Facilitative Working Group 5 website, you can have it. So what do you think about this idea? So that can help us also to move forward. And in this point, is it any members from the Facilitative Working Group have any views of this gender? Andrea, is it the old hand or is new hand? If it is new hand, just to go ahead, please. You are muted.
Yeah, I see. No, it's on another issue matter. Not
Okay,
on the
okay. So then we'll come back to that one. So is it anyone have any objection to us having a gender focal points as a facilitative working group members? It's not mean that the rest cannot work on the gender issues at all. Only the focal point can be the reference or whatever. No, it's just to facilitate all our work if we have a focal point, and then this person can at least be referred to. And then if this person cannot do the work, so another one can do it. And it could be also a man, why not? So are you agree with these decisions? We are not having the nomination like now we nominate Yo or Thomas or Andrea. No, we cannot do that. If you agree with the decision, so that we can take note of it and come back to discuss about who interests. So if you have any thoughts on this, members, please, or objection. Alec, please.
So just to be clear, Hindu, so the proposal is that the focal point comes from within ourselves, the FWG members?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any problem with that. Thank you.
Thank you. So you do not see any problem with it. So thank you so much. So I see like no objection, and thank you so much. Anyway, like the gender issue, youth issue, Indigenous issues, it's the normal thing, we are living with it, but we need just a process or modality to say we accept it in order to give the Secretariat a green line to put it in the report. So thank you so much, all of you, for your support. Coco, are you ready to come back with the language proposition slide? Or I can go to the next. Okay, so go ahead.
Yes, thanks so much, Joanna. If you could just put up that slide. And here you go. Thank you.
So here are the three propositions we have. The Facilitative Working Group requests interpretation at its mandated meetings and those events specified in its draft second 3 years work plan in English, Spanish, and Russian. The second proposition is the Facilitative Working Group requests translation of mandated work plan document and its draft second 3 years in English, Spanish, and Russia. It's like the same to the first one. So then the third is the Facilitative Working Group proposed this decision be included by the Secretariat in the Facilitative Working Group Report 5, noting any decision that may be taken related to the content of the Facilitative Working Group report is subject to be availability of supplementary resource. I think from this one, my own reaction is maybe we miss it the French already, and maybe we miss it also the proposition of the document translation and interpretation. I mean, it is two things. So one interpretation, one translation, and French have to be there. Otherwise, one of our colleagues is 100% French speakers, even in the Facilitative Working Group, without talking about the others. I see that the Secretariat saying it is their mistake and they will add the French as update. So may I have any comments on this proposition from the members, please? So is it in this one you want to react, Andrea, or it is in another?
Another one, the next one.
Okay, okay, the next one, okay.
Yeah. No, this is good, this is good.
Okay, so if you can add the French, Rodion is there. Go ahead, Rodion.
Yes, thanks, Kendo. I'm quite supportive to this kind of decision, and also to be included into the report of the Facilitation Working Group 5, because it's still always a critical point for all of us at the global meetings, particularly under the UN, and also in terms of inclusiveness of indigenous peoples from different regions, social, cultural regions. So it's so great that we once again raise this issue in trying to step by step to find a proper solution. So, and it's also getting more critical and timely, particularly because of decade of indigenous languages announced by the United Nations. So this is also part of our contribution to the cultural and language diversity. So, and I would encourage all of us to keep this track in the future for the next membership also, and to be as a unique criteria of the Facilitation Working Group and LCIPP. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rodion. Anyone else have a comment from the members, please? I do not see your hands. So if okay, looks like there is no objection to the language except on adding the French in the other languages, and then the text it's agreeable. Thank you so much, Secretariat, for the proposition, and thank you so much, colleagues, for your flexibility on accepting this proposition. And then, of course, I hope that our caucus will be also happy with the proposition, because this is the one we all agree on it. So the next point is, and is the last one on this agenda item, it's the term of reference. So the term of reference, for the Facilitative Working Group, we do receive a lot of meetings or propositions or many other things where we do not have a clear established rules to just work on it. So we just deciding or jumping or following, and it is normal because the Facilitative Working Group body is new, and because also the LCIPP is new, and then we Indigenous peoples, we help it to build it up from the COP22, and then we of course are working and building up. So that's why we wanted to discuss this quickly, and normally our colleague and sister Dali, who's supposed to be here to discuss this agenda item. While Dali is not there, I am wondering if Lisa, if she passes you an information about this term of the reference first. So if you can explain to us, and then of course the next will be Andrea, because she wanted to talk on this agenda. So
sure. Thank you, Hindu. Yes, I spoke with Daly yesterday regarding this issue, and thank you for introducing it. I believe it's a very important subject, and let's see what you think of it. But she wanted to introduce the idea of creating a temporary working group who would draft up a set of terms of reference for the Facilitative Working Group. Now, as you also explained, it's pretty normal to have a terms of reference for constituted bodies, but there is one lacking for the Facilitative Working Group. And I think it's something that we need to address. And I think in the beginnings, and of course, the Facilitative Working Group is still new, and there's always growing pains associated with new organizations and learning how to work and wondering how it should work. So terms of reference would be a good guidance document for that issue. So the proposal is to create a working group coming from this Facilitative Working Group. So it would be a small set of people. It doesn't have to be a big one. It could be 2-3 people. It could be more or less. So I'll open the floor to your ideas, and looking forward to hearing what you think of our suggestion coming from the Arctic region. And to let you know, we also held a meeting of the Arctic region members to discuss this issue, and did draft up a document, but not ready to share with everyone, because I think it has to be within all members of the Facilitative Working Group to draft it up and to sort of finalize a first draft, if that's the way we're going to go.
thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for the propositions. Andrea, do you want to come in?
Yes, thank you. And this related to what I wanted to say, since we're just about out of time. And some of us, like myself, need to get off right on the hour for another meeting. That we have been organizing intersessional meetings, informal meetings of the Facilitative Working Group, usually in between the 2 formal ones. And that we ask the co-chairs to work with the Secretariat to organize an informal meeting without too much delay to discuss this matter, as well as just to finalize the discussion on the definition of the Lsip. Nobody objected to, for the meanwhile, using the formal language that was already adopted in the work plan. Says the Lsip is a platform for the exchange of experiences and sharing of best practices on mitigation and adaptation in a holistic and integrated manner for Indigenous peoples, local communities, and parties. And that's the official adopted language in the work plan. So I think we're using that now, but some members wanted a broader discussion. And we also need to touch base with each other about the progress we're making in consultation on the work plan. The last item that one of the members asked me to raise is to get clarity on the process and timeline for the transition to the new members. There's been various different dates thrown out, and we need to know that so we can work with our regions, and for the states, their constituency parties. And the last issue we won't have time to talk about now, but was raised again at the caucus, is LSIP position on activity 6 in the Paris rule book. It was raised by several members here. We had circulated a draft position, but we don't have time to talk about that now, of course, either. So these are issues that we need to table, including the terms of reference discussion, to an informal session that we hope can take place within the next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you for raising all those issues. I have Juan Carlos on behalf of Tuntiac. So Juan, por favor.
Sí, muchas gracias. Un gusto saludarte, hermana Hindú, a mis hermanas y hermanos, a los cofacilitadores, a los miembros de la plataforma. Saludar también de parte del compañero Tuntia, que está en territorio. Estar en territorio es muy difícil en la selva, entonces quería hacer una nota. Cuando no puede participar el principal, sería importante. Yo estaba inhabilitado lunes, martes y miércoles, no pude participar. Hoy veo que puedo poner la cámara, que puedo poner el speaker, pero creo que eso se debería corregir. Ha sido una bonita experiencia. Estaba atendiendo indirectamente, participé mucho en los diálogos del grupo 3 y sí quisiera dejar en relevancia que las temas que sí se puede ir conectando con todas las agencias internacionales que hay, que quieren colaborar, todas las agencias que se conecten a nivel de países y puedan hacer una agenda de trabajo y consideración, porque a veces es muy complejo y difícil llegar al plano internacional. Y solicitar también la voluntad de buena parte por parte de los estados, de los gobiernos, la participación en las delegaciones oficiales de pueblos indígenas, con hermanas y hermanas, líderes y lideresas jóvenes, también adultos que puedan tener esa oportunidad de participar y poder tener esa, y no estar inaccesible y no tener cómo poder llegar. A veces es muy complejo. Saludar, se ha hecho un bonito trabajo de mi parte, conversar en la región, saludaré y mis hermanos han podido participar ahora porque ha habido traducción simultánea y agradezco mucho esa oportunidad para poder sentir y hermanas que han colaborado con muchos temas específicos que falta tiempo, pero es un muy buen ejercicio y podemos decir que tenemos esperanza. Y gracias, Hindú, por su liderazgo y también a Tomás y que sigan adelante en este nuevo proceso. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Brother Juan. And of course, we are all in the same line with you, and we are in heart with Tuntia, that my brother, I miss him to be here. So, Rodion.
Yes, thanks, Hindu. Because of time pressure, I will be quite brief, but I would like to follow Andrea, Deli, and Lisa with regards to our next step. And I strongly believe we should allocate a special session on this. In terms of timeline, it would be better to have the first in a virtual format, but also trying to have offline in person, if possible, during the next scope. Because I think for some of us, it's still key question, maybe very simple question, but the most critical. What is the difference between Facilitation Working Group and LCIPP? Because if we refer to the facilitation, it means we're talking about some interim body, right? So it's particularly getting more critical from long-term prospect, in particular for new membership, to have a common understanding where we are now and where we are going in terms of strategic and long-term prospect. So that's why I think we should first have such kind of brainstorming or strategic session. But of course, I would prefer to have a final one in person, because otherwise it will be so challenging to create some efficient and common universal format. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rodion. We say in French, you walk in my tongue to do these propositions. So I know that we have a challenging time. May I beg the interpreters to stay with us for a while, and then that can give me the chance to get back to Lisa here from her. And then, of course, Thomas and myself, we can conclude these sessions and then go to the closing session. So sorry, interpreters. I know that it's not easy, but thank you so much for allowing this time. So Lisa, you hear from all the proposition. I'll leave you say what you think about it before to conclude.
Well, let's see if I understand correctly. I heard that this discussion on a terms of reference be moved forward to a special session. And there we can really look at the questions of the role of FWG compared to the Lsip, and to really understand the difference. It was also a question that I raised when it comes to a facilitative working group. I mean, the facilitative working group, how long is it supposed to be working on its mandate to operationalize Lsip? Normally, as Rodion just said, it's interim, but we don't know how long the FWG's mandate is supposed to last for. What is the time period we are looking at? So I think it's a very important question. And so that's where a terms of reference also comes to mind, because we don't know how long the FWG is being mandated, and when will it end its mandate? So is it indefinite? Is it going to go on for another 10 years, another 20 years? If so, then a terms of reference will still be useful. If you would really like to discuss these issues in a not too long future, let's say next month, as Andrea had suggested for another issue as well, we're open to that. I think it will be worth discussing. If you don't wish to make a decision now on setting up a working group to draft up a terms of reference, then let's discuss it further in light of the issues raised by Rodion.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for the summary for all what you think. And then just to assure you, maybe you discussed this issue in Arctic, but we had this discussion in the Facilitative Working Group 4 about the difference between Facilitative Working Group and then LCIPP. And then we have also the discussion on what will be which role and whatever. Maybe from this one also, Dali, discuss it in your own region, and then the idea come back again. So just to assure you that it is not only a region issue, but all of us are concerned about it. Secondly, there is two things that you said. Firstly, the term of the reference. Second, the mandate. So the mandate, it's clear. So the mandate, it is under the decision, or Coco put it also in the chat, under the decision 2 of the CP24, that the mandate of the Facilitative Working Group will be reviewed in the COP20, at the end of the COP21. So normally when we have in the decision, the mandate is 3 years. So when the 3 years come to the end, it will be a revisions, and then the state come into the negotiations. And it is not like we decided or we say we wanted to stay longer or shorter. It is a matter of negotiation between the countries who come up with the decision who can be adopted at the COP. So the first decision who have been adopted and who create the Facilitative Working Group with only the indigenous members. And that's also why we do not have like local communities representative, because it's have been a discussion issue. So this one going to be revised in the Glasgow. So in the COP26. So when it have been revised, so we can see what will be the new mandate. So if you have any idea around it, you wanted to negotiate it, so it will be the time to come to the Indigenous caucus, not the Facilitative Working Group. Then from the Indigenous caucus, we can all the 7 regions discuss, agree on one thing, and we can start doing our lobby from the idea that we think and move forward with the mandate. So here is my response to the mandate, immediate one. And then for the term of the reference, if my co-chair Tom agree, so we cannot agree on the date now. We need a time to discuss on it among ourselves before to decide if we can have a drafting group or if we can have whatever process that we can go through it. So why not we just capture it in this report of the meeting, and then we can agree among ourselves. A secretary can send us a doodle, maybe as you said, for the next month or whatever, because we have a lot of timeline. So if we can agree in the proposition, we can get a doodle, and then we can agree in a time that we can meet and discuss around this issue. And from this discussion, we can have the process that we can set for this term of the reference. So that will be the proposition. I can take the liberty with my co-chairs to propose to you. But I really will love to hear from you, Tom, before we move to the closing.
Thank you, Hindu, and yeah, thank you for all your efforts this afternoon in co-chairing. You've taken on a lot, so thank you so much for all of that. In terms of your proposal, I agree. I think what we're hearing is you know, I personally support it in terms of reference. I think it's a good idea, but I do agree that we should discuss it at an intersessional meeting to elaborate it more and figure out how we'll go about that. So I think that's a good approach forward. And yeah, I agree with the approach of doing a doodle. I think we had planned, and this will be updated in the next session, to do an intersessional meeting in August around trying to finalize the work plan after everyone had consulted with their regions. But I think what we're hearing is we would like to do an intersessional much earlier as well. Sometime in July, we'll send out the doodle as you note, and then we'll go from there. And with the idea of touching on all these points, as well as maybe an exchange on the work plan, of course, since if we're going to be meeting informally, we might as well take that opportunity as well.
Merci beaucoup, Tom. C'est vraiment très gentil. So indeed, may I ask the floor to the contributors if you have any relevant or urgent other matter to add in this agenda before we close it. Cool, that gives me also the time to rest my mouth a little bit. Yeah, Kathy, you are there. So Kathy, if you have, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Hindu. We'd just like to briefly say thanks to the FWG for being so inclusive, and we wish all the constituted bodies are like this. We're also glad that the representatives of other agencies and constituted bodies, like for example, the PCCV are here. And also we encourage, for example, the other constituted bodies, including the PCCB, to further their collaboration with civil society stakeholders, especially Indigenous youth and women. And for example, in its task force activities, and we're also glad to see the nomination of the gender focal point. We give our full support, and I am sure that the Women and Gender constituency would love to offer their support in all related activities as well. Also, thanks for inviting us to participate as a partner for activities in the coming tasks. And we definitely look forward to the collaboration to come, and we're happy to follow up on the details through emails. Also, just to thank the amazing Secretariat and also the former and current chairs and all the FWG members. And last, I would definitely like to take this opportunity to thank all the younger members who participated actively in the last few days. I am very proud of all of you, and we're looking forward to the collaboration and support to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kathy. This is really lovely from Yungo that attending all the 4 days of the discussions, and we really appreciate your collaboration too. So just when I saw Kathy spoke, I remember one of the important things, maybe we can capture it into the report. When we invite any other bodies, it will be good to see how the CTCN can be also incorporated in our work, because the technology and the indigenous knowledge is very important, and they have actually a provisions on indigenous knowledge in their own documents, and we are just collaborating in parallel with them. So it will be good to see how we can collaborate also with them, inviting them, because they are inviting us as indigenous peoples to attend their own meeting. So I just wanted to say that. And yeah, thank you so much for all of you for this agenda item on any other matter. And then Tom, if you agree, we move to the agenda item 8, at least because we have the interpreters for the next 10 minutes. Yeah.
Sounds good to me, Hindu.
Okay.
Would you like me to
start? May you start the agenda item 8?
Of course. Definitely. So maybe before I start providing some of the details in the closing ceremony, what I could ask is at the end of the kind of remarks that I'm going to give is we'd like everyone to take a family photo. So in the interim, while I'm speaking and providing details, if I could ask the Secretariat to turn on the camera functionality for all participants, and as well for all participants to turn on their cameras, so that at the end of these remarks we can do the family photo. So first point to raise with all of you is the dates for the next official Facilitative Working Group meeting. So that's FWG 6. The Secretariat has proposed Thursday, October 28th, Friday, October 29th, and Saturday morning, October 30th. So that's prior to COP26. Of course, that's hoping that the public health situation means that we can all be in person at COP26 and meeting and once again seeing each other, because it has been quite some time. But those are the tentative dates that we will be working towards for FWG 6. So returning to our tradition of meeting immediately prior to the COP or to the intersessional meeting. I also wanted to speak a bit about the plan for the 3-year work plan. So the FWG needs to finalize the 3-year work plan by August 10th. And the Secretariat, as we've noted throughout the session, has been compiling all elements that have been proposed for a second draft 3-year work plan. In the coming days, what we'll aim to do with the support of the Secretariat is capture all of those inputs and circulate them out to FWG members. We would then invite the FWG members to consult with their regions, and we will aim to discuss, at least initially, the work plan and initial comments from regions at our next intersessional, which originally we had envisioned for August, but it sounds like we will move that up or add an additional one to sometime in July. And then in the first part of August, we might have to meet informally one more time to agree by consensus on the draft 2nd-year work plan, but we'll see how things progress. And I would note that on the Lsip web portal, there is a co-chair's note from Hindu and myself kind of outlining these timelines. So I'll ask the Secretariat to circulate that to all FWG members so that they have that, but it's also accessible on the platform's web portal. We might amend it just to once we have that doodle poll and a date for a July meeting, but that's the plan going forward. With that, I'll just quickly pause because I know that was a lot of information. If anyone had any questions or would like me to repeat anything. Not seeing any, which is great. So maybe there I will take my opportunity to just thank my co-chair Hindu for all their efforts and collaboration all of the FWG members, including especially those who helped facilitate the breakout groups, all of those who joined us from constituted bodies, all of the contributors, Indigenous peoples, local communities, other parties who have joined us today. I thought we had a really rich discussion. There's still a lot of work to be done, as I'm sure everyone is aware, in terms of finalizing the next 3-year work program. But also, I think we started off in a good way, and I look forward to finalizing it with all of you. And finally, I would just like to thank the interpreters who have been so generous in staying on, as well as the Secretariat who, after pulling off 3 weeks of subsidiary body sessions, has been so generous with their time and helping support us through these past 4 days. So a big thank you to the Secretariat. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks, offer it to you, Hindu, to express anything you might want to, and also introduce Frank.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you, really. Yeah, I mean, I start by thanking you for all the good collaboration and understanding of this work. It is not easy, but we are a team, so that's the good thing. I would like also to join my voice to what you said, to thank the formal coaches. Yo, thank you so much, brother. You really did a lot. Andrea, even she's not there, Grams just transfer our thanks to her. And of course, thanks to the formal coaches before you who set the tunes, who take all the risk, Majid and Pasang. You really did a great job. And thank you to all the Facilitative Working Group members who dedicate all your time, every time to be here. Thank you for those who accept to facilitate all the 2 days of the meetings and who report back. So I'm just repeating all what Tom said, but it's really matter. Thank you to the Secretariat and the team of the Secretariat who are behind the screen and doing the work night and day, as Tom said. Thank you, interpreters, for your understanding and for providing all our language with our accent and moving just quickly and all. We understand that it's very hard. We do not have a time to hug all of you as we are virtually, but we're really sending you a big hug, all of you who are here. As Tom said, please, if you can turn on your camera, from the Secretariat peoples, from all the participants here, and then you turn on your camera, and then we can do one photo shot first. And after one photo shot, if we can have at least 1 minute of the blessing to all what is happening in Canada, but also to all what is happening around the world on Indigenous peoples. And then I will come back and call up for a closing blessing. So just if Wissam is here, so tell us when you finish with the photo. Do a big smile to the Facilitative Working Group. All of you, we love each other.
And I'm gonna take the photo now. So everyone prepare the smiles.
Ready.
Just a second, because we have a lot of people. Little bit. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Patricia, and thank you everyone for staying and for showing your face there. So may we just have a 1 minute of silence to all what is happening and also to connect with the Mother Earth, please. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be connected with all the people who are lost their life and who continues to lose their life because of nature. So we will be there and we are doing all the good things. May I call to my dear dad, Frank Etawagishi, who live in Harbor Spring. So Frank is from the United States. It's our elder. He's the one who is giving us a lot of blessing. So Frank, I don't need all those wording to introduce you. All what I know, you are an Indigenous elders that always accompany Indigenous peoples and Indigenous Peoples Caucus through all the regions, through all what we are doing. You accompany us with all your blessing every time. That's how I know you, how I would like to present you, not from all the whatever other things. So please, Frank, give us again your blessing to close this day in a beautiful way. Over to you.
Thank you, Hindu. And thanks to everyone here and for all those who've participated. I'm thinking about the situation in Canada briefly, and I wanted to, it's heavy on our minds. And as Andrea pointed out, this is just one school of many, many, many different schools that these problems have occurred at. And it's not just in Canada, it's in the United States, it's other places all over the earth that these have occurred. And while this is a terrible discovery that we have, that has just been announced, this is the reality that our Indigenous people have been mourning and suffering the loss for generations. And we've known that these things have occurred, but this is now, it's proof that this happened. And those are the things that really are heavy on our hearts. The only thing that I can think of is that a good part of that is that we're now able to mourn properly and to have ceremony for those who've gone and to speak to that. I think that we need to think that, and as we have those moments of silence and as we each have these things in our hearts, it's important for us to remember not just those who have suffered in these ways at the schools, these children, but all the many people, as Hindu has said, the many people who are suffering, Indigenous people and other peoples from all over the earth, all those who are suffering. Our hearts and minds are with them all, everyone, and we wish everyone to be well. I'm going to sing a song as the closing, and I want to talk about this song. It goes to the four directions. We're from all the four directions here. We're from all over the earth, and this song will honor those four directions. But the other thing it does is we all live on one earth, and this song also recognizes Mother Earth, one earth. And we are all under one sky, and this also honors that creator and that direction that we think of as the sky. And so we are all in this. We're all in this together, and this is to help us all be thinking about all of those directions as this song. So when I'm done with this, I will be done with my prayer and my thoughts, and I wish that everybody will have a good day, good evening, or whatever from their homes, and with good wishes for all the families, for our nations, and for all peoples, wherever they may be. So with that, I want to sing this song now. Eo, eo, wabanange, ni minigawas, mi gwetch. Neya Bashinamawa Nom Gom Eo Eo Jawanange Ni Minigawas Mi Gwetch Neya Bashinamawa Nom Gom Eo Eo Ningabianang Ni Minigawas Mi Gwetch Neya Bashinamawa Nom Gom Eo Eo Giwenange Ni Minigawas Mi Gwetch Neya Bashinamawa Nom Gom Eo Eo Weganem Daki Ungagwanachi Zaga Iwe Win Ni Minigawas Mi Gwetch Neya Bashinamawa Nom Gom Ayo, ayo, get your money do. Ayo, ayo, nishpaming. And that ni minigawas big wetch. Nay, abjinamawa nom gom. Oh, big wetch, thank you.
Thank you very much for this blessing. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as we say, we are all together. So we belong to this earth. We are all in the spirit. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Indo.
Thank you. Bye.
Saludos a todos.
Gracias.